this particular topic is actually pretty short, but it's absolutely incredible. And it is the Google Drawing facility. And if I go to my Google Docs list and create a drawing, um, it basically gives me this canvas, which looks a lot like, Paint or whatever, drawing tool you're accustomed to using. But there are two things, well, I guess there are three things that are really, really special about this that I want to draw your attention to. The first thing is just that it's a plain old good drawing utility. If you click on Insert, you can see quite a lot of different types of art that you might want to insert. And I always like Scribble. Actually, I probably shouldn't use Scribble because I don't have a steady hand, but with the Scribble, I can use my pen tablet and just draw a bunch of lines. Or alternatively, if I want to add shapes, it's very easy to add shapes, and the shapes are all stacked on top of each other. So if this particular shape that I just created, if I want to drop it to the back, I can send it to the back like this. And so, you can add text, you can create schematics, like a variety of different, types of drawings. It's very easy to do here. Another thing that's really, really neat is, this is a vector-based drawing program. And you'll see in a little bit more detail what I mean by that in a second. But basically, instead of having pixels, which would make it a raster program like Photoshop. I mean, Photoshop, you can draw in Photoshop, but you're painting pixels. This actually has equations that it uses to specify the way that this curve works. So there's a number of points defined on the curve, and that rather than pixels is how the drawing is structured. And so if I want to export this, I can export this as a PNG or a JPEG, and those are very common web-based file formats, or also as a PDF. But I can also export it as an SVG file, and I'll just click on SVG. And SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. And so if I have a really high-test art program like Adobe Illustrator, I can open an SVG file. In this case, I'm going to click on the untitled drawing that I just created. And I can modify this in great detail inside of Illustrator. So not only is it easy for me to move the objects around that I created, but if I zoom way in on those objects, I can see right here I have, oh gosh, I can't remember the name. I have a control handle and a point that defines how this curve works. So it's easy to kind of mock something up, and if you're a graphics professional, then you probably understand like how crazy it is that Google would put up a free and powerful vector-based illustration program for anyone who's interested in using it. But this kind of stuff is just really neat, and if you wanted to mock up a logo or something inside of Google Apps and then export it to a piece of software like Illustrator for more extensive and subtle manipulation, you have the ability to do that. So I mean, that's the second of the three like super incredible things about Google Drawing that I wanted to share with you. And the third one, let me close this real quick. Let me get back to my drawing. The third one is that, like other documents, I can share this document. In this case, I want to share this document with Brian. I'll say, whoops, Brian, my editor. I can share it with him, and I want to go ahead and make sure he's been notified and say, hey, join me on my drawing. And I can see over here that Brian is now viewing this. Brian, can you draw any little squiggles or anything? Try going to insert scribble. Yeah. So that was a draw. So these are lines that Brian from Cambridge, Massachusetts, right now is drawing in real time. So it's just really neat because that you would have the ability to, here we go. This is Brian saying hello down here at the bottom. So it's Google Drawing anyhow. To sum up, because I know we need to finish off with some questions. Gives you this ability to do a bunch of neat things. It has a lot of powerful features. You can export vector graphics, and you can even collaborate with your hopefully more artistically capable than we are friends online.
Question from the chat room. Are you able to import a vector drawing into Google Drawing?
I don't believe so. Unfortunately not. No. And in fact, now that I finished talking about how wonderful, let me just try. I'll click on open. I'm going to try for the heck of it to upload the scalable vector graphics drawing that I just created. We'll just see if that works, but I doubt it highly. Well, let's see. Certainly not an Illustrator file or anything. Oh, when I open this, yeah, it doesn't want to read it. So no. And what's sort of even more disconcerting is that once you've created a drawing inside of Google Docs, you can't import the file that you've created into your word processor, into your Google Documents word processor. You actually have to insert a new drawing inside of your Google document, and then copy all of the art elements from your Google drawing from the old one into the new one. I'll show you a little bit about that in the next. So as with everything, the things that it does well are mind-blowing, and then things that it doesn't quite do yet leave us scratching our head.
So you ready for questions?
Yeah, I mean it's we're getting to the hour, so I think let's go. Let's have our final questions.
All right. Well, a question from Philip in our recent drawing application. Would a Wacom tablet work well with this app?
Well, that's what I'm using right now. So my little squiggles are use the tablet. So
does it respond to pressure sensitivity or angle or anything?
Okay, so we're getting slightly out of my field of expertise. No. Actually, yeah, it doesn't do pressure sensitivity. I know Illustrator does pressure sensitivity, but no. And in fact, I don't think that you can have lines of varying widths within the drawing program here. You could easily, create a drawing, drop it into Illustrator, and then go switch your lines up to get the varying widths that you like. But no, it doesn't see the Wacom tablet yet. It just sees a mouse.
And so we had a question from earlier from Bruce in the chat room. Do you have to have a Google site, a domain on Google, in order to create a form? Is there any way you can put it on your own site?
No, you can create a form. I mean, if you have a, okay, wait, let me make sure I understand this question. Was the question, do you need to have a Google Apps account to create a form?
No. Do you need to have a Google site set up?
No, I mean you can embed the form on a conventional website. Absolutely. I mean, and yes, and you don't need to have Google Apps to be able to get into it either. It just it's that I believe that's among the options that you have when you're setting the form up to have embedding code that you can drop into a website.
You could create a Google spreadsheet and embed it on another site, and to have it update on a non-Google site and have it update in real time?
Yeah, from a form that's also sitting right there. Yes, if you wanted to do that, that would be completely doable.
Cool.
Yeah, the only thing that makes this complicated is that Google Sites is its own sort of universe, and anything that you would want to do on Google Sites is just a little bit different from the way you would normally approach it if you were just rolling your own web page. But it basically the deal with Google Sites is that any sort of dynamic content has to come through a gadget, and the deal with any other web page is that any sort of dynamic content is going to come from a piece of hypertext that you have extracted from the sharing menus of whatever document you want to share.
All right, so we have another question from Deborah in GoToWebinar, who wants to know if it's possible to create shapes with no fill.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, basically the shape would be of the fill would be of clear, I guess. So let me just get rid of some of this.
Really clear, or is it white? 'Cause that's something that I've noticed with the spreadsheets, is that it seems to actually be white.
Well, I don't know if you can tell by looking. I don't know if you can tell if what you're seeing is exactly the way my screen is, but in the background of. I'm sorry.
You could layer an object on top of that and have a transparent fill in order to see it.
Sure. Well, I mean, I could just I have the highlight. I have the object selected. I can go to the paint bucket and then click transparent. And in fact, all of this background here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's the sort of light gray, white checkered pattern that represents transparency. So it's not a white background that we're looking at. It's actually the transparent background. And what I did was I just.
Yeah, can you select
I'm
that and
sorry?
bring it to the front? Layer it to the front?
Can I select? I'm sorry, say that again.
Can you select that box that you just changed and layer it to the front, to the top?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, so let's say, I mean, it's I have this box. If I put a white fill in it, right now this box is on top of this little text box here, and I can just right click on it, and under order I could do send to back, and it will do that. So I mean, when you look at these objects on the page, Google understands them to be stacked on top of each other, and so when you're doing illustration with vector graphics, stacking is important. Here, I'll bring this particular. Oops. You can just, but what you do is just right click on the objects that you want to change the stacking order.